Hello, hello, and welcome to Keep Calm for Moms, where we talk about what it means to parent the next generation with grace and ease. I am Dr. Pamela Ellis, and I am just thrilled to see you today because if you have a junior, you really do need to be part of this conversation because October is such a critical month for juniors. And the things that you're doing in October can make all the difference in terms of where your teen gets admitted to college. And it also makes a huge difference in terms of scholarships. Because one of the things I do know is that even if you can pay in full for college, you don't want to overpay. I mean, no one wants to do that. And you probably have a heart for your teen to be in the right place and to be in a college that they're excited to attend, and you don't have to worry about getting that phone call that they're ready to come home. Am I right about that? So anyway, I'm just thrilled to talk with you today. And one of the things, if you're joining me for the first time, here's what I want you to know is that just to share a little bit briefly about my firm. My firm is Compass College Advisory. And one of our signature offerings is college readiness services. And we partner with busy moms to help their teen with finding a college that feels like home without overpaying. And our proprietary framework is called Keep Calm. The CALM stands for College and Accelerated Leadership Methodology. And the five pillars of Keep Calm are academic, social, financial, vocational, and cultural. So let me just jump right in and share with you three key points that I want you to learn in terms of what you can do in October. Now, October is critical for all of the grades in high school, whether you're 9th, 10th, 11th, or 12th. There is a lot that happens in October and things that you should be doing as a parent and also what your teen should be doing as well. And so keep in mind that as I am sharing these three, fire tips for you, as I'm sharing these three, the thing that I want you to keep in mind is that at the end of the day, your teen owns the process. And so, yes, you can help them, you can support them in terms of their college admissions journey. But at the end of the day, you can't do it for them because that's not only going to hurt their chances of admissions, but certainly hurt them as it relates to scholarships as well. Okay. And so, does that make sense to you? Because I know that sometimes I get some pushback when I say that the teen owns the process, but I really do want you to hear me on this because it's such an important point in that your teen understands how to self-advocate, because when they get to college, you won't be there to do it for them. And they really do need to develop their confidence through high school so that they are prepared for college in the real world. And so part of the reason why you want them to own the process is that they start to develop that confidence and belief in themselves and their ability to accomplish things and get things done. And so if you agree with that, please type in the chat, yes. And so I want to know that I am talking to you and that this is starting to resonate. So here is the three tips that I want to share with you around just why October is so important for juniors especially. And I'm hearing from a lot of families with juniors right now because you're starting to feel just that sense of urgency and the fact that all of the information that's out there can be a bit overwhelming and stressful for you to keep on top of. And so I really want to share with you today around just something that I hope, these nuggets, I hope will just ease some of your stress and worry around supporting your teen through this time. So here is the first tip that I want to share with you in terms of why October is so important. So in October, What I want your team to do, and I want you to encourage them to do, is to start to nurture those relationships with their junior year teachers. Now, I know you haven't heard that anywhere else, and you're probably thinking, what? What is she talking about? That's exactly what I'm talking about. I want them to be intentional around nurturing relationships with their teachers. Now, October is a great time to do this because they're just starting the school year, and things are going to pick up. I've already been hearing from some of my students that homework loads are starting to increase, and they're just feeling pulled in a lot of different directions. But one of the ways that they can actually take ownership is to start to develop those relationships with their teachers. And I would encourage them to start at least with one teacher. Okay, just start with one teacher. And this is a class perhaps that they're struggling in, or it's a class where it's a subject area that they enjoy. And so they want to build that relationship with the teacher of that class. And developing that relationship could look like, setting up a time to meet with the teacher outside of class time. And that can be done in person or virtually, however it's convenient for the teacher to have that conversation with them. I know for a number of my students, they have Wednesdays that are pretty much open for those types of meetings with teachers. And so their school day is ending around noontime. And then they have the afternoons for other activities, the afternoons where they can meet with the teacher outside of class time. And so I really encourage your teen, to your junior especially, to do that. And here's why. In the upcoming months, summer applications are going to be available. And I always encourage juniors to really look at a selective summer program between junior and senior year. I can talk, on and on about the advantages of that. And there are so many wonderful programs that are out there that are only for juniors. Well, I'll talk more about those programs in an upcoming episode. But what I will share with you today is that many of those programs will require a teacher recommendation. And oftentimes they want to see a current teacher recommendation. And so if you can just have them to be intentional around starting to nurture those relationships with their teachers, that's going to go a long way in terms of them being able to comfortably ask for that recommendation in the winter. Because those applications are usually due for juniors in the January to February timeframe. And so starting to build those relationships now will make that much easier to do. Okay. The other thing is that next year, this is talking about a short time. In less than a year, your junior will be applying to colleges. And usually they want to see recommendation letters from junior teachers. And so why not get to know those teachers this year in an intentional way and really give them an opportunity to get to know your teen, and for your teen to get to know them, so that next year this time they're not feeling some kind of way because they don't have a teacher to ask for a recommendation letter. And I've had that, just this past year, especially with everything that happened during the year, this, well, I would say the first school year after COVID, there were a lot of students who had been completely virtual during that year, and they really just didn't feel comfortable asking, a junior year teacher for a recommendation letter. And your student is likely in school, so they're not going to have that particular excuse, but just, helping them now to be intentional around those relationships. These are the same types of relationships that they'll be forming in college as well. And so why not, support them with learning that skill now, so learning how to develop those strong relationships. So how am I doing? Is this making sense to you in terms of the importance of these teacher relationships? So please type yes in the comments. I'd love to hear from you in terms of this resonating and landing as far as its importance. So the second tip that I want to share with you around why October is so important. October is a great time for your team to be engaged in their curricular activities. And for many schools, I know they have done one of those club fairs, or they have done some type of program where they've given students an opportunity to learn about the different extracurricular activities that are happening. And, schools have a lot of great activities, that are happening for students to stay engaged and be part of a community. And so I encourage your junior to be proactive around their involvement. And being proactive means, really committing to whatever activity they're going to be involved in. Because the days of doing a little bit of everything in every club is over. That's so tiring. And I'm a mom of 3, and let me tell you, my kids could not be involved in a whole bunch of activities because I didn't want to be driving them around. And I don't think that you do either, because it takes up a lot of time. And if they're so overwhelmed themselves, so perhaps if they, are driving now and you don't have to chauffeur them, they're tired, with trying to do so much and making sure that they're volunteering here and there. And, that's for the birds. I mean, no one wants to be doing that. And I see a lot of kids who are just, tired down. I'm thinking, like, you're too young to be tired because it's just too much. And I really do encourage them to just choose 1 or 2 things that you really do care about and just stick with that. Just stick with that. Don't worry about trying to do everything and spend an hour here or an hour there. So October is, a great time to do that reset and to say, hey, this is what I'm going to focus on through this year as far as my extracurriculars are concerned. So I hope that you get that point in terms of, why you don't want your team doing a little bit of everything. The other thing about it too is when colleges are looking at their activities resume, they're using that to get a sense for where they've committed their time and also what they care about. And if they're using that to get a sense for how your student will be in their community, and all they see is an hour here, an hour there, I mean, that really doesn't show any type of commitment, and it doesn't give them a sense for who is your student and how will they contribute at their college. So I really do encourage students to start the year strong with choosing, 1 or 2 activities that they're going to be committed to in that year. And this is the start of a new school year where they can, use that. They can make those decisions, as part of their goals that they have in junior year, and determining what it is that they're interested in, what they care about, what can they be committed to through junior year. That's going to go much further than trying to dabble in every activity that's available to them, because it's just going to run them down and they'll be even more stressed and tired out. And when their homework load picks up, all of that gets to be more of their time, then something is going to have to give. Something will fall off. And so I really do encourage them just to stick with 1 or 2 things that they care about. Now, here's the third one, and this one is a big one as far as October is concerned, and especially for your junior. And that is, do you hear my dog barking in the back? Last week he had to come on camera because he was just getting a little bit out of control, but we'll keep going. So the third thing that I want you to do and to make sure that your team does for October, for your junior, is test planning. And what test planning looks like is, quite frankly, taking a practice ACT, a practice SAT, determining which one is their better test. Now, I know in October, your junior is going to be taking the PSAT. They're going to usually be taking it middle of the month on that Wednesday or Saturday of this month. And the PSAT is all well and good, but perhaps the SAT isn't their jam and ACT would be better for them. I would really encourage taking those practice tests so that they get comfortable with the test that's best for them. And then what you're going to do with that information after you get your scores and learn just kind of what their strengths and areas of development are with the test, start their test prep. Start the test prep. And starting the test prep means actually meeting with 3 or 4 tutors, learning about the class opportunities that are available in your area or online that they can participate in that fits with their schedule. And, not every student would do best in a class. So maybe it does mean working with the tutor privately. But if your team can work well in a group setting, by all means do that, because there are a lot of classes that are available. And then there are even some that are self-paced. My own son did a self-paced SAT program, and it actually helped him with increasing his score, and it worked out well for him. But let me tell you, for my other two, they didn't do any self-paced course because they just wouldn't have been disciplined in that way. I hope they're not listening, but if they are, they know it's true. They wouldn't have done a self-paced curriculum because it just wouldn't have worked as well for them. So I would suggest you really determining what's going to work best for your team. Is it going to be a self-paced SAT or ACT course? Is it going to be a class in a group setting? Or will it be working with a private tutor? Now, usually, even for my students who may be doing a class, they will do 2 or 3 sessions with a tutor just to get some more personalization in terms of specific questions that they have and go over any strategies that they may need for any particular section. And so it's really important, though, if you are considering a tutor, making sure that your teen interviews the tutor. I give my clients, a list of questions to ask so that they will know, how best to determine whether or not a tutor is a good fit for them. So those are 3 gems, and I hope that as your junior is going through this month, that at least, if not all 3, at least 2 of the 3 they are doing in this month, and you're encouraging them to do that, because this is going to really set the pace for the rest of the year. And in junior year, it just tends to accumulate. It starts to snowball, if you will, as far as all of the things that need to be done in order for your team to be ready for their applications in the next 10 months, because that's when it's going to start. So I just really, look forward to hearing from you in terms of how that's landing and how you're able to start to use those particular tips this month. Now, coming up next time, we got so much more we're going to be sharing with you. We have a few more boss moms that are coming in. But even before then, I would love to see you on October 23rd. That's when College Prep Made Easy is happening. And it's a 1 day intro event where you can get all of these gems and so much more in terms of what you need to know to support your team through the college process. There is a lot of moving parts, a lot of detail to it. And when you're doing it on your own, it's just that much more stress on you in terms of trying to keep up with everything that's happening. And unless this is your full-time job, there's going to be something that you miss. And so part of what College Prep Made Easy is all about is supporting parents with, you know, all of those things they need to know that's going to give them that peace of mind around supporting their teen through their college admissions journey. Okay. So I want to see you there. And if you are interested, just type college in the comments because I would love to hear from you and love you to be part of it. And so, yes, the date, the date on that is going to be October 23rd. And that's coming up and would love to see you there. So take care and I will talk with you next week.